When you pick up a Bible, it looks like this, right? Or maybe this. Lovely JPS. Books were not always books in the way you probably think of it. When ancient people started writing things down about 5,000 years ago, they started actually doing it on clay tablets, then eventually on potsherds for little notes, then on rolls of animal skin or papyrus that they created by sewing pieces end to end. Books in the way we think about them didn't actually get started until the 4th century CE. Yeah, CE. The books of the Bible were actually originally scrolls. Okay, much of it was oral and then written down on scrolls. Anyway, that means that when we think about the Bible, the official Bible, it's actually a very late thing. Okay, in my world it's late, but I'm actually an ancient historian at heart. The scrolls that were passed around were not always complete. Much less did groups of scrolls always stay together, and through time, new scrolls were created that became important to the Jewish people. For example, Genesis is way older than Jeremiah, but we know that Jeremiah and Isaiah wrote on scrolls. Likewise, scrolls got lost and copied differently depending on what was available at the given time. Remember, not everyone could read and write, and writing was an expensive endeavor that required lots of material and time. So, what were the sacred scrolls? Well, that depends on who you ask. Different groups held different scrolls in higher esteem. So when we look at the Dead Sea Scrolls, for example, we find all the books of the traditional Hebrew Bible, aka the Old Testament, except Esther. She's not there. What gives, gentlemen? So Esther's not there. But other extra-biblical books are there. Scrolls that were included with the Dead Sea Scroll Library include things like Community Rule, which is a lot of rules, lots of really boring rules, and the Damascus Document and the War Scroll and some other stuff. This means that different Jewish groups likely held different scrolls in higher esteem and may have had scrolls that were sacred and unique to different groups, and this group considered this sacred, this other group did not. And it turns out that different groups may have only had parts of scrolls. A part of Jeremiah may have been missing here, a section of Ezekiel missing there, or scrolls may not have been considered genuine, and so not sacred. Additionally, a scroll can only be so long before it's impossible to work with. In fact, the longest scroll among the Dead Sea Scrolls was 54 feet long and included 66 chapters. Pretty good. Most books of the Bible would probably fit on that, but books like Deuteronomy, at 150 chapters, that's not happening. So when did the Bible get to be a book? The earliest physical book we have evidence for goes back to about 900-ish CE. Yeah, not actually that old in my world. The oldest complete Bible we have in book form is called the Leningrad Codex, and it dates to about 1008-ish CE. The chapters that you know and love did not appear in the Hebrew Bible until 1228. That's 800 years ago. Finding anything in a really old Bible is a pain in the tuchus because there's no separation into chapters. So how did we get to have a mostly standard book for the Old Testament? No one really knows, but just based on circumstantial evidence, I think it has to do with the Jews not having a homeland or a central space of worship for so long. They were kicked out of Jerusalem by the Romans around 70 CE and were in diaspora until World War II. That's a long time. The scrolls likely became the center of communities that were scattered all over, and once the book was introduced, perhaps an influence of Islam, Muslims had a standard book early on in their tradition. That book increasingly became central to the communities and served as a common link between them. They didn't have a temple, but they had a book to gather around. Actually, interestingly, today in synagogues there is still a scroll used and read from the Bema. Now this scroll only includes the first 5 books of the Bible, and it's called the Pentateuch, or the Law of Moses. So, scrolls still play an important part in Jewish tradition, but in every pew of every synagogue and in your local church, there is a book, a lovely, easy to hold, uniform book. And for that, I think we can all be thankful. Maybe even more thankful for electronic forms. Books are really heavy, especially Bibles. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and you'll find out when new episodes come online. Coming soon. See you later.